To pass this exam, you have to unlearn to learn. Hi, I'm Angela Murray, SHRM SCP, SBHR, and your favorite HR exam coach. One of the biggest hurdles that HR professionals face when we're preparing for the SHRM exam is the struggle to apply theoretical competencies to real-world HR situations. You may know the definitions, you may know the concepts, you have memorized the theory, but understanding how to effectively implement them in practice is what truly matters on exam day. Today, I'm going to break down why this is such a common challenge, but most importantly, I'm going to tell you how you can bridge the gap so that you're not stumped on test day and you see pass on the screen. The one single thing you need to know to approach the SHRM questions is that the SHRM exam presents questions in a best case scenario context. So that means that you have to assume that the organizations have the adequate resources, they have the time, they have the support, they have everything they need to implement HR practices effectively. That means you're expected to answer the questions based on ideal conditions where the organization can fully comply with HR best practices according to SHRM. This is what allows the exam to focus on assessing your understanding of ideal HR practices and how you would apply those practices without any constraints. The questions are framed around optimal conditions where compliance with laws, policies, best practices is easily achievable. You have to assume that organizations have the support needed to implement HR strategies effectively and remove your day-to-day experience. Sometimes you even have to remove practicality and logistics. You have to think best practice. Focus on what should be done rather than what could be done if there weren't limitations like budget or resource constraints. Your answers should reflect the highest standard of HR practice and nothing else. I'm going to give you a few tips to help you think best practice rather than most practical. Number 1, think big picture. Approach every question from a high-level HR strategy perspective where the goal is to achieve the best possible organizational outcome, no matter what. The goal in answering the questions is to withdraw the problem you're facing from as many parts of the organization as you possibly can, or apply the solution to as many parts of the organization as you can. This is what makes the most impact. Number 2, don't compromise compliance. You can't. Assume there's always time and resources to follow legal and ethical requirements to the letter. Compliance is never compromised. There is no circumstance where you do not have enough time or people or any other resource causing you to break the law or any compliance regulation. There is never an excuse to turn a blind eye or do the wrong thing, and it will never, ever be the correct answer. Number 3, consider ideal workplace culture. Assume the organization has a supportive culture that enables change and HR best practices to be implemented smoothly. And if you don't have that, the question will tell you. And that is what you're going to be trying to overcome in that question. The question will say something like, an HR manager wants to implement a new bonus structure, but they are apprehensive because the organization has been facing employee engagement issues. How should the HR manager respond? Now, on the surface, it might look like the question is asking you about implementing a bonus structure. But the first thing that has to be addressed is the employee engagement issue. It is not possible to effectively implement something new, any kind of initiative, when you have a failing culture. It will just introduce more friction and cause more problems. You might have an answer choice that targets implementing the structure. It might say something like, hold a town hall meeting to introduce the new bonus structure to the employees. But you're also going to have another choice that says something like, Meet with each department manager to clearly explain the rationale behind the bonus structure and how it benefits employees. It's more time consuming and it's going to be more resource intensive to meet with each department manager. Of course it is. But the main thing you're trying to overcome is the engagement issue. Meeting with each manager ensures that the first thing you get is that manager's buy-in. Then they can relay the benefits to the employees. They can tell you the climate in their areas. They can give you the backstory. They can give you an idea about how the bonus structure is going to be received. And that's going to be way better than going in front of a bunch of disgruntled or hostile crowd and trying to introduce and explain something to them that they don't even want and they never asked for in the first place. So when you're thinking about the questions, always consider how you can best overcome the problem in the question that's presented so that you can meet the organization's objectives. So that's that. The one little thing that makes a big difference is think best case context. If you're struggling with how to apply the HR knowledge, let me know in the comments or let me know what other hurdles you might be facing. I think I've told this story before, but when I was studying for the SHRM exam, one of the biggest challenges for me was the unrealistic nature of the exam questions. At least it felt like it was unrealistic in my eyes. I had to learn that it wasn't that the answer choices were unrealistic. It's just that I had never worked in an organization that had the resources to solve problems according to best practice. To pass this exam, you have to unlearn to learn. So, like this video if you found it helpful and hit the subscribe button for more SHRM exam tips. I'm going to help set you up for success. Bye.